Hey everyone, Jake with HJ Sports. We got some exciting news today. Our new Tetra line of bow sights, the Tetra LT, and the Tetra Max are going to be compatible with the new UltraView scopes. So we'll be selling the Windage along with our infinite adjust plate to make the UltraView compatible with all of our Tetra line sights. So you'll be able to take a Tetra Max, a Tetra LT. You can also take the Tetra Max in a Hunter Edition frame or a Dovetail, and the same with the Tetra. So you'll have a bunch of different options to put your favorite scope along with your favorite frame of your choice. So when you're looking to make the UltraView compatible with any of our Tetra line sights, you're going to want to make sure that you buy the complete kit that we're going to be selling. We'll be selling it to dealers as well on our website. You're going to want to make sure that you're getting the infinite adjust plate and the windage. It's important that we use our windage system, as that is the one that will be compatible with the UltraView scope. So when you're looking at purchasing a complete sight to get with the UltraView, you can either convert your current Tetra over to fit the UltraView. You'll need the windage then. And if you're looking at completely starting from scratch, buying one of our sights and putting the UltraView scope on it, you'll want to purchase one of our Tetra 900 frames, which, as I mentioned before, you can get it in a variety of different options. You can visit our website to see all the details there. So along with a new piece that we'll be selling to make the UltraView compatible with the HHAs, you're still going to get all of the features that you would normally get in an HHA sight. You'll get your second access completely independent from your 20-yard elevation adjustments on the infinite adjust bracket. Still get third access. All the features that you're accustomed to seeing in an HHA sight, you'll still get with an UltraView scope. You can check the video in our description to see how we installed the UltraView scope onto a Tetra 900 frame. So the HHA components on this sight do carry 100% lifetime warranty, just as any other HHA product does. This is a product that we're really excited to introduce to you, and really excited to partner up with UltraView on this project. For more information, you can visit our website at www.hjsports.com.
Oh, yeah.
All right, folks, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Bucks of America podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Vance. Now, this episode's a real special one here. I got a near and dear friend of mine on the podcast. Everybody knows him, Matthew Futtere. He is the madman behind Veteran Innovative Products, from the Atom to Guillotine, and even 4 new broadheads this year. So this podcast is going to be primarily focused around his engineering skill and his passion behind it, and we're going to discuss all the new broadheads that have hit this market. So, Matt, how you been?
Well, been pretty good, considering I've been battling cancer now 4.5, 5 years now, and it's kind of winning, but I'm still fighting.
Yeah, and you had some good news too. Your grandson, he's getting big.
Oh, my grandson is a hoot, and of course, we got him a little bow and arrow, and he's starting to get figuring all that fun out. So he's a healthy little country kid that's going to be tearing it up pretty quick.
Oh, that's exciting news. I'm glad because he's what, 2 now, 3?
3.
Yep. Man, this time just flies on by, And the cool thing is, like, watching kids at that young age and watch them do dangerous things carefully. It's always unique, and watching their minds like really analyze, like, well, I've done this before, this hurts. As a parent, all you can really do is just sit back and watch, because this allows them to establish that risky behavior. So this way, when they get older, they're willing to take risks and learn from their mistakes.
Yeah, what's really interesting me in watching him just go about his daily deals is he's already demonstrating a mechanical aptitude and a curiosity to take things apart and put things back together. So for me, being pretty much a self-taught engineer, I find that quite fascinating that, it's in his blood. So hopefully he picks up the ball and runs with that one day and does his own inventing.
I hope so, because these days, it's like, if you have the mindset, there's technology out that can teach you everything out, from books to videos. So the nice thing is the pioneers like yourself that really paved the way for this next generation. So it's like, well, if they can reduce their education costs and go and figure something else out, go for it. So this way, then they can take that money, instead of putting it into an NCAA university, they can go ahead and start with their product.
Oh, yeah. That's, it's even if they don't open their own business, if they just are curious and they want to do something, if they have the self-discipline and the personal drive to get it done to their own satisfaction for their own benefit. And if, like our broadheads, if it benefits many, maybe there's a market for them, they can put it on the market. But really always comes down to same reason I started my path to pursue inventing the very first broadhead I did was the original Guillotine. It was, and I just got sick and tired of chasing turkeys after you hit them and not finding them. That was what really got me. And so the Guillotine, when people saw it and how effective it was, they were like, you need to make us some. And then that just led to, oh gosh, now I got to open a business and go through all that headache and big money productions. And, you know, it was risky, but we did it. And here we are, 20 years later. You know, we're about 20 years. Yeah, this is 20 years, I think, or 21st year. I forget. It's been a while. And we debuted the new, I don't know if you can see that. But
I can see it. Yes.
Yeah, I've had so many people over the years ask me if I couldn't improve upon the Guillotine and give them different features and benefits than the original Guillotine. And I take notes on everything, right? And it took me a little while to kind of get back to focusing on, okay, I'm going to do the new Guillotine. And we did it. We sent it out in the field for field testing, and everybody who shot it just loved it. And turkeys completely decapitated. In addition, if you can see, the blades are not all on the same plane. There's one front blade and one back blade.
I see that.
What that means is you can now body shoot the animal, because the original Guillotine, I engineered it to bounce off the bird if you hit him in the body and not hurt it a bit. And you either hit him in the head and neck, lopped him instantly, killed him instantly, or you didn't. And the bird lived another day to be hunted another day, go make more babies, whatever. But a lot of people wanted to be able to shoot the head, neck, or the body. So that's what this allows. And in doing so, another feature of all the competitive products that are out there, Guillotine style broadheads, including our original, they're pretty much one-shot broadheads. And you know me long enough, I don't like disposable broadheads, and that always bugged me. And I got better. I got a little wiser at how I engineered things. And so this original Guillotine, if you look at it, you'll see the end of, can you see the end of that blade?
I can.
It looks like a little shark fin there.
It does.
Well, what that does is if you hit the bird and you lop the head off, and the broadhead's going to keep going and it's going to smash into the ground. Well, that bends and breaks blades on all my broadheads as well as the competitors' Guillotine style broadheads. It at least bends them. What this does is it actually is intended to grab the ground, and there's an internal ball bearing and spring. So like a shock absorber, it is a cam in there that allows it to cam over, and in doing so, it transfers energy to the broadhead body and ultimately the arrow shaft.
That is impressive.
It will not bend or break your blade. We've not had one bend or broken yet, except for one gentleman now that we've been selling them, shipping them here recently. He made a bad shot and put it through a piece of 2x4, I guess, and it broke the blade, which is the first one we've ever had break. But if you're just normally hunting and you miss or hit the ground or intentionally shoot to hit the ground, it'll bend one or both blades back, and it's easy to reset. Just push on the back. It self-centers, ready for the next shot. And we in a real hunting situation or just practicing with them, you're not going to bend or break them. There's an exception to that. We finally had, after 3 years of being out in the field, one customer broke a blade, but we just sent him a whole new broadhead. Said, good luck, go kill some stuff. So I can't say it's completely indestructible, but in the field we haven't had anybody break one yet. They've tried, just normal use. So yeah, it's engineered so even though this thing come back, it's got calculated resistance, so it will completely decap surgically the bird's head, completely decapitate it. So it's plenty of resistance, yet if you hit the ground out on this far leverage point, that's what it does.
That's fantastic. The nice thing is, Matt, like when this podcast is all done and when this releases, this will also go on YouTube. So this way, then people will have the audio and visual appeal to it, so they can see everything. It's something I started here a few months ago with YouTube, and it's a slow process. I mean, it's going to be a grind, just like doing podcasting. But I'm looking forward to it.
Good. Well, this I also has the same titanium tip as all our other broadheads. And it's just a 440 set screw that holds all the blades in place. So with one little Allen wrench, you can take this completely apart, clean it all up, put it right back together with very simply. So it's a simple design that just works well. So of course you're going to need a longer arrow, right? We do make an extender now. It's 50 grain, I forget what the actual. It's like 1.5 or 2 inch extender. But we recommend you put some more fletchings, and recently we found out about a company called Zinger fletchings.
I saw them this weekend.
I just got some. I'm really impressed with the product. It's a great product, and I'm going to work with that company to dial in a Zinger fletching specific to the Guillotine, and they can just slide it over their existing arrow, put this thing on, and just go, as long as the arrow's long enough, right? Or put the extender on. So, I mean, that's a nice option, that Zinger fletching. I'm really impressed. Those guys are going to do really well, and I want to support that. So,
yeah, I was talking to my buddy Seth. He's part of the team HJ USA, and he was talking to me last night about that. He ran to him, and he and I have the same idea. Like, we like to buy our products, test them all out before we put our seal of approval on them. And he was telling me that they know who he is, and he was telling him that he's now starting a 501c3 to get kids out there in the market and stuff like that, because he's got a young boy, 8 years old, and his mom reached out to him after her divorce, and he took him on his wing, got him started shooting again, and got him a bow. His daughter gave him her old bow, and she bought herself a new one, and he's 9 years old, and he's out of 200 points possible at a 3D shoot, he's hitting 150. The next closest competitor is 50 to 60 points. So he's got a real knack to it. And then what really gets to your heartstrings is that his dad passed away just a few weeks ago. Yeah, very young man, tough. 40 years old. Yeah. So
yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I'm kind of preparing for that myself. So it's just the fact of life. We all have an end date, right?
Yes, we do.
I'm just trying to do as much as I can before I get there as well. And part of that is all these broadheads. Oh, I should mention that since we're talking about the Guillotine, I do make it in a crossbow version that's 1.5 inch cut. This is 2 3/4 inch.
Okay.
And this is 1.5 inch cut. All the same features and benefits. And clearly, I got people looking at this going, "Man, I'm going to shoot pigs and deer and everything with that thing. That's a beast of a broadhead." So, but it'll just do just fine. So.
I wonder
but it's for turkeys.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody puts that crossbow on a bolt and sends it down range at a deer.
Yeah, well, we've already done things with it, so it'll shoot off crossbow or your compound. It'd be just fine. Or recurve and longbow shooters are enjoying these as well. So for small game, squirrels, rabbits, raccoons, all that kind of fun stuff. So, and then the fun stuff is, of course, you guys know about our combat veteran. The only thing we did some minor changes to this with our blade improvements. We got a little hole in the back blades now to kind of allow us to do a little metal manipulation to just toughen it up. But it was selected as a top 10 broadhead by Field and Stream magazine for 2021. So we're getting some notoriety finally. We've got customers all around the world. Australia, New Zealand, Africa, Europe, especially right now, is just loving our broadheads across Europe. It's unbelievable, the bow hunting fanatics that are over there. So that's been a good one. All we did on this was slightly manipulate some metal to toughen it up a little bit, and change the color from blue to gunmetal gray on all of our broadheads. So that's part of the rebrand effort.
Yeah, I got some of the. I got a set from you last year when they're all gunmetal gray. So when I took my doe this year, it flew just fine. I mean, it went compete. It was a 30-yard shot, complete pass through, and she piled up 30 yards later. It was great.
Yeah, you just can't ask for a broadhead to do anything better than that. And well, all broadheads will do that if you put them in the perfect spot. We do take pride in the fact that our tests show that we really shine when the shots aren't so good, right? And we still deliver those good results. So the new ones this year, besides the Guillotine, I have 3 models of new broadheads. The original veteran with the red ring and the outer spring, and people just didn't like the outer ring, and once in a while it didn't open, which we told them up front. That's why we have a 1 1/4 inch cut to quickly and ethically still kill the animal, the benefit of a fixed blade. But they wanted more persistent reliability, open every time. So that's what I got busy doing. This is called, let me take these lawsuit eliminators off here. This is called the Ranger. It's a 2-blade. It's the next generation veteran, basically, but we're going to call it the Ranger in honor of all who have served in the Army, right? That's how I name my broadheads, in honor of those who have served, other than the Guillotine. So this is the Ranger. How it works is exactly the same as the combat veteran with respect to deploying or unlocking the blades. So because the arrows are traveling at velocity, let's just say 300 feet per second through the air, right? When it hits the animal, it immediately starts to decelerate. And when it decelerates, that's called a consistent decelerating process. So it's slowing down for that millimeter travel, slows down more. It just keeps slowing down. So what happens is when we start to penetrate the animal, this 1.1 inch cut will compress slightly. That unlocks a steel pin inside. Because it's slowing down, the pin continues to move forward since it's not being locked in place. And as a result, that inner spring can now open my blades to 2.4 inch cut. 2.4 inches. It's a nasty cut.
Yeah, it is.
And it retains my patented or multiple patented flex cut technology or momentum management. Where people don't understand momentum management, but when we started using the terms flex cut, flexible cut, man, they picked right up on it. So we've trademarked that flex cut technology. So one, both, or individually, they will compress and rebound. And to relock it, all you do is simply point it up, compress the 2 blades all the way, and let go.
Oh, that is
so
convenient.
It's gravity lock, inertia release, and you will never ever cheat gravity, or you'll not cheat momentum, right? Or physics. So it's just the similar way it works is if you're in your truck going down the highway at 100 miles an hour and you got your seatbelt on, you slam on your brakes, and your buddy, he's not wearing his seatbelt. Your seatbelt's going to hold you in place. Your buddy, where's he going?
He's going out that window.
Right out the window. So that's the technology.
I'm Jake with HHA Sports, and today we're going to talk a little bit about our Dovetail Sights and how they're going to fit on the new Matthews V3X. So as you'll see, I have a Tetra Max Tournament Edition sight on this 33-inch V3X. All of our Dovetail sights, the Tetra and the Tetra Max, will fit on the V3X. Also, in the next couple of weeks, you'll see us come out with a shorter Dovetail version. It'll just be our short bar version, which will also fit on the V3X on both the 29 and 33-inch model. One question that we've gotten pretty frequently lately is the windage adjustments on your Tetra and Tetra Max bow sights on the new Matthews bow. And this year we came out with the infinite adjust plate, which you'll see on the front end of your sight. So when you put this infinite adjust plate on, you'll want to either flip it to the inside or the outside. And for the inline mounting sight options, such as the V3X, you're going to want to make sure that the infinite adjust plate is to the outside of your infinite adjust channel. This will allow for optimal windage adjustments. So you'll also be able to find the infinite adjust bracket on our website if you're already shooting a Tetra or Tetra Max Tournament Edition sight. Another way that you can get your HHA to fit V3X is by buying our conversion kit, which you can find on our website at hhasports.com. We'll be selling those at retail around $60. So basically the only thing you'll have to do is you'll have to take apart your sight at the third access point, and you can convert any Tetra or Tetra Max sight. So if you have a fixed frame, you can get that into a Dovetail. So like mentioned before, any Dovetail sight will fit a Tetra or a Tetra Max, as well as our short bar version. For more information, you can visit our website at www.hhasports.com.
As simple as this works. We basically, when you initially penetrate the animal, 100% of the time, you're going to compress these blades just a itty little bitty bit. And it is decelerating. It opens up 100% of the time. We've never had one not open. So we definitely solved that question about opening or not. And then again, it's easy to take apart. The same titanium tip, little hole through it, just Allen wrench that out. We recommend you only take one blade out, clean everything up, put that blade back in, then take the other blade out, unless you have the special tool necessary to compress the ball bearing and spring that are in there. Because if you take both blades out, you are not putting this back together. So we make a tool. We give the tool to anybody who needs them. Typically when somebody buys replacement blades, we just give the tool.
That makes
sense.
sense.
It's very easy to do. Yeah, it's the preload on the spring is significant. It is a stout spring, and I want it cut in 2.4 inches in the vitals, and that's what it does. It cuts wide. So, but it's very durable and reusable. You know, we just recently got word that a little gal shot a big old axis buck with a crossbow in this 2-blade Ranger. And of course, it just blows right through, and the axis deer didn't make it maybe 30 yards. So from 6 years old all the way up to old dudes like me, we're enjoying killing stuff. It'll go through a pig in a heartbeat, a big old boar. So that's the 2-blade technology. And so everybody for years has been after me to make a 3-blade broadhead. So this is called the Commander, in honor of all those whom have served in the Navy, like myself. Got to get my U.S. Navy in there. So this is the 3-blade model. And again, it has the same slight compression, inertia release, 2.4 inch cut open, 3-blade.
Oh, that is sharp.
Yeah, it's a nasty cut. And it's the same thing. Point it up, compress it down, and just let go. And you're never going to prematurely deploy the blade. You can't pull them out. It's just that simple. And we've had people accuracy test these, and nobody's had any issue in some of the earlier prototypes we did, because I had a wider initial cut right in the closed lock position. So we've just narrowed that down a little bit, and so we're down to that 1.1 inch cut, closed locked, and then it'll just open up 100% of the time when you go in an animal. And I've got some forensic photos, and so I can share with you after podcast. It cuts a big hole. Puts animals down very fast. I think in all this testing that we've done, we've had one animal make it to 70 yards. Mostly everything's dead well under 50 yards. So, and again, it's pick it up, clean it off, and then, sorry, that's my puppy. Hey, quiet, honey. Clean it off and just keep killing. So it's durable and reusable, not disposable.
Your whole thing when you started with the Veteran Innovator products was just to have that higher efficacy rate and be able to retrieve more animals, and it's like you kind of set that standard across the industry. Yeah, well, we've always said, you know, before I made broadheads, I shoot my competitors' products, and a lot of the different ones, and I had good success. But when you start focusing on, when you realize that people lose animals every year, right? So is there an opportunity for us to make a better broadhead? Big game animal I'm talking about now, right? We did it with the turkeys. We know that's a no-brainer. Sorry, my puppy dog is looking out the window barking. Hold on. No worries.
So anyway, when you start looking at the lethality study facts that are irrefutable, done by third party on military bases, blah, 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 fixed blade broadheads deliver on average for a whole lot of years in a row, about 83 animals on average out of every 100 hit. That's how many they find. That's 17 animals that are hit that go unrecovered. And on that base, they mandated their shots were 20 yards and less. 20 yards and less. Is that the real world that you and I bow hunt in?
No.
No. So I focused, once I modeled my lethality study that we did on the ranch after theirs at 20 yards and less, and I quickly realized my numbers matched theirs. They varied 2.5% year to year to year. I thought, okay, that validates what I'm doing. It's delivering the same results that they're doing, which means the data is irrefutable. Fixed blades deliver less animals to hand than mechanicals. Mechanicals were about 87 out of every 100 animals hit are recovered at 20 yards. And so it got to a period of about, I was into year like 12 in the lethality study, or 11 or 12 years. And I decided this is not real world. I'm going to go out to 40 yards and see what happens to the lethality study results. And it wasn't good. It's just like basic geometry. You know, if your angle is this, your dispersion pattern is this at 20 yards. When you get to 40 yards, it's that dispersion pattern. And the realities of animal movement, the hunter's heart rate, you know, shaky, had to hold a little extra longer than on the target range type of thing. The recovery rates, they suffered. And so it just led me to believe that, is there a way that we can apply engineering, creativity, and thought to enhance lethality and to enhance our ability? By meaning enhance lethality, if we can more consistently, even on marginal shots, put an animal down where we can find it, that enhances recovery rates, right? That's the goal. You hit an animal, you go find it. And so that's why I've spent 25 years doing broadheads and lethality study. Was we realized we can make a broadhead that will deliver more animals being found than what typically has been used on all the fixed blades and the current crop of mechanicals that were out there. And that's what led us to momentum management, or this flex cut technology. And now that we crossed the milestone of our two-blade veteran, for example, averaged over 8 years, 94 out of every 100 animals hit were being recovered. That's a big improvement, consistently done year to year to year. When we first started, we were at 97, 96, and over the years, the average results came down to 94.5, and we've stayed 94, 95 out of every 100 for the last 3-4 years. So that gives good confidence the data is valid. So I thought, well, it's time, because the data shows a 4-blade broadhead does deliver a higher yield of recovery than a 3-blade or 2-blade. So that's why I came out with a combat veteran first. And this broadhead, although I don't do a lethality study anymore, it's more anecdotal evidence now, driven by all my customers, as well as all the people in my circle that bow hunt and give me reports daily during the bow season, which spans New Zealand, Australia, Africa, Europe, and all over North America. A lot of bow hunters. And then those average results come in, and we are still at 97 out of every 100 animals hit. Those animals are being found with a combat veteran. This is the third season with it. So it didn't drop. It went down to 97 and it's just stayed there. So 96.5, 97. So we're pretty proud of that. Everybody else is focused on putting a product in a package for profits. That's their focus. That's business. I get that. I never approached this that way. I always approached it with, how can we make the outcome of a bow hunter who spends all year planning, practicing, preparing to get in the field? And we all know Mr. Murphy rears his ugly head. Things go wrong.
Yes, it does.
Can our broadhead deliver a better outcome? And the answer is, our broadheads do consistently. We get such amazing phone calls and photos and testimonials from customers. They know I haven't shot everybody else's. They tell us without a doubt in their mind, if they were not shooting the VIP broadhead, they wouldn't have got the animal. And that I mean, you know, after all the years of sacrifice engineering this stuff, the money doesn't matter. It's that we made a positive impact in that guy's bow hunting life. And that's what matters most to me. So pretty proud of that. But along with the 3-blade Commander, we did get a lot of requests for us to make a crossbow specific broadhead, and 3-blade was the most popular design that they wanted that in. So we did make what we call basically a Sherman tank. It's 150.
Jeez.
It's 150 grain hardened steel tip, solid 70-75 aluminum body. Same everything, the blades are the same inertia system, 2.4-inch cut. And it's 150 grains of, you aren't going to stop it. I don't care where you hit the animal. It just goes like a demon through everything we've shot it through. And then again, pick it up, clean it off, relock the blades, go kill some stuff. So it's a nice addition to the portfolio. But it is, you can shoot it off a compound bow, don't get me wrong, or a longbow or recurve if you want. But we did engineer it for the high impact energies of the crossbows deliver. I mean, it's a tough broadhead, very tough.
Yeah, I was did some research into crossbows here this past fall because I thought, well, maybe getting my daughter in front of a crossbow maybe would excite her, maybe want to be a little motivated, because here in Wisconsin, it's a parent's decision when you want to get him in front of a gun or a crossbow. So if starting from as early as 1 year old, all the way up until however old they want to be. And it was one of those things where it's like I started doing research about it, like, and how like the higher poundage you go, or the higher FPS you go, you want to have a heavier arrow and such. And like learning all of that aspect gave me a whole new understanding of the crossbow mechanics of that and how to take care of it, because too light of an arrow, you can end up blowing out the limbs or having issues with the string. So it's like having that heavier broadhead makes perfect sense. And I like to shoot heavy too.
Yeah, heavy on any bow, from trad all the way through compounds, through crossbows. Now I'm going to predicate this with a little bit of weight, right? I'm not into you got to shoot 650 grains minimum, blah, blah, blah. That's BS. I will sit and debate Dr. Adaspi across the table in a public forum all day, every day, and he's going to lose. There are nature has a balance. So does projectiles, right? There's risks and rewards for what you decide to do with your projectile. But a little bit of weight up front, all that's going to do is aid in improving the dynamic efficiency of your bow, right? The transfer of energy from your bow spring to your projectile, your arrow or bolt. And bolts are, that's why most of them now come with a brass insert, 50 grains minimum, and all of that kind of fun stuff, because a little extra weight doesn't hurt anything.
No,
so it's less energy reflected back into the bow, right? Because it's got to go somewhere. Yes. So if it didn't go into the arrow, where's it go? Back into itself. And that's the destructive nature of parts wear out, strings are stressed, cables are stressed, and whoops, something let loose. That isn't good. So one last broadhead that we debuted this year. For years, people have been asking me to make a fixed blade broadhead, and I just wouldn't, because why? The lethality study showed that, hey, it's not the best design to shoot out there. I don't care what people tell you, right? You're gonna sign up then to understand you're going to hit animals and not find them. That's the nature of the reality that we face, whether they want to admit it or not. I don't care about brand A, brand B, brand C. It doesn't matter what brand it is. It's a fixed blade broadhead. And while they all kill, the lethality study results, not just mine, but independently done, don't lie. I mean, it's there in black and white. Either understand it or choose not to, and know you're going to lose some animals eventually. But in the pressures of business, I'm told I'm leaving a lot of potential money on the table, because there are people that just don't want to shoot a mechanical for whatever reason, even though they've really advanced. Not just mine, but there's a bunch of companies out there really have some mechanicals out there with a lot of good engineering in them. They work well. But they pressured me enough. So I came out with, it's not quite a fixed blade, but it looks like the Commander, right? It's 3 blades.
It does, I see it.
Same blade, same tip. The body is almost the same. It doesn't have quite the same engineering or machining on it. But you shoot it just like this. And in most states, in all states, they say you can't shoot a barbed broadhead, right? And that would be considered barbed. Well, it's not barbed. As you can see, if you pull it out of a target, they will come unbarbed, and even more so. There is a ball bearing and a spring in there. And if you hear that, I don't know, can you hear that?
Yeah, I hear it.
It's a ball bearing and spring that lock my blades in a fixed position.
Oh, so that's awesome.
Yeah. So I have all the benefits of the penetrating capability of my other broadheads, but it's a rigid cut, 1.2 inches. And that allows us an aerodynamic profile for extreme accuracy to high speed. So you have crossbows, compounds, you're just where your field point goes, this goes. We haven't had anybody say anything about accuracy with this broadhead, and they shoot them high speed. And then as far as being legal, yep, it's not barred. So, and it's easy, just push it back. And this one, you can take it completely apart. You don't need any special tools, just an Allen wrench, 50 thousandths Allen wrench, comes right apart completely, put it all, clean it up, put it back together, ready to go. So, and these are less expensive to make than my more complex flex cut broadheads. So the price point on this is going to be a little less as well, which is attractive to people that are on a budget. So it's a good broadhead. Kill a lot of pigs with them. So that's the fun stuff we've been working on and debuted at the ATA show. We just kind of enhanced the combat veteran a little bit. We came out with 2 new models of Guillotine 150 grain, 175 grain. We have the Bomber broadhead in honor of the air. This is what the fixed blade is called, the Bomber. It's in honor of the Air Force folks. My brother was in the retired Air Force, and he was a big key component on the B-1 Bomber program when it first started and got off the ground. And so I named it in honor of the Air Force and my brother. And then we have the 2 models of the Commander. Actually, we make all the broadheads in 100 grain, 125 grain, and steel body, stainless steel body, 175 grain, all of them. The only one that we make in 150 grain is the 3-blade. That was the only one that people wanted in one. If they wanted more weight, they just jump up to the 175 all steel body.
Okay.
And then we have the 2-blade Ranger that replaced our 2-blade Veteran. So it's let me pull my lawsuit eliminators off there. I have to be careful. I keep cutting myself.
I've been watching you play with these blades. It's like I would be slicing my fingers up at this point in time, but they must be pretty dull.
No, well, it's engineered to. So my background is physics, right? And then all the forensic studies I've done, I kind of understand how to modify the cam, ball bearing, spring force interaction. So there's more than enough resistance to cut full width through vitals. But if a human, your skin is so many layers thick, and most people's skin's pretty tough. So I've engineered the cam so you can, towards the ends of the blades,
okay,
just gently, don't slide across it. Yeah, you're cutting, but if you just push straight on it, you're not going to cut yourself, right? So, but for liability purposes, we do provide our little lawsuit eliminators that you slide on there if anybody's nervous about it. And then you can do it all day and you're not going to cut yourself, right? No problem. So, and if anybody loses them, well, we'll just send a bucket of them for free. So you'll have plenty, right? So we want people to be safe.
Oh yeah, I have a spare set up in my go bag, in both of my bags. So this way, then it's like I always have an extra set with me because of was it last year? My wife went ahead and she bought some veterans from from HJ USA. You had a really nice basket put together, and she wanted a whole bunch of new broadheads, so she went and bought it, and obviously all the proceeds went from there. So it's like it was nice to have all this additional sets. So it's like make sure everything has one just in case if somebody's not familiar like you and I are, or if they're going to touch. It's like, here you go, put these on until you understand the mechanic of that particular broadhead.
Yeah, once you understand the mechanics, it's pretty rare with all the folks that bow hunt with me. I don't know anybody that uses these actually. And once they got them and they understand how to work the broadhead, I don't know anybody that actually uses them. But again, we do recommend safety reasons, use them, and you'll definitely be safe then. But so, yeah, one other things that I don't have any here show you. I should have got them out. Maybe we can talk about it on another day. Is another thing we did debut at the ATA show was, do you build your own arrows?
I don't. I do not.
Okay.
Now, since I have a bigger place, I plan on buying some accessories to do so.
We used to sell guillotine arrows, so we fletch up and glue inserts in to a couple thousand dozen a season, right? That's a lot of arrows.
Yes.
So I'm pretty familiar with the problems associated with building arrows. And then when we're in the field, I'm sure you've experienced it. You launch an arrow and you miss, or you hit the animal and the animal moves, or it goes through and hits a rock, or you break an arrow. What do you do with your arrow? You throw it away, right? Or most guys just leave it in the woods. But so even target shooting, 3D shooting, right? You miss a target, you break an arrow, something. What do? They throw it in the trash. So because of the economy and the COVID situation, vast majority, I'd say 95% of the field points and inserts are manufactured overseas. And they were all stuck in container ships, right?
Yes, they were.
So they weren't in the pro shops. So we got approached and was asked, hey, can you make field points? Yep. So we fired up the lathes, and we've been making precision stainless steel field points for quite a while. And now we're waiting on packaging. Of course, that's slow too in this economy. But we get the packaging in, we'll be selling packs of 12 match weights field points from 85 all the way up to 200 grains in all the different arrow sizes and crossbow bolt sizes. So we're selling those now. In addition, they asked me, well, can you make inserts? Because nobody can get inserts for their arrows, right? The heavier ones specifically. And I was like, yep, we can do that too. So I said, but wait, I don't want to just make an insert like what everybody else does, because you've known me years now. I don't just make what other people make. And so I said, I have an idea. Let me explore this a little bit. So what I did was I actually have now developed two variations, or actually three variations, but we'll probably have on the market real shortly here, two variations from arrows that have an inner diameter, I should say bolts. Bolts start out with an inner diameter of the crossbow bolt at 0.300, go down to 0.298.
Okay.
And then there's arrow sizes are typically 246 inner diameter, 230 inner diameter, 204 inner diameter, and then the deep 6 is a 166 inner diameter. I have developed a mechanical insert system that you can put in the end of your arrow, lock it down with a field point or your broadhead, and you aren't pulling it out. If you break an arrow, you can simply unscrew your, loosen it up, pull it right out, put it in a brand new arrow. You're not throwing away precious metals anymore. You're not gluing inserts in, sniffing glue, waiting for it to dry. Or if it's super glue and it dries too quick before you get the insert all the way in there, you're not going to ruin an arrow and an insert, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we solved all those problems. And so we are very simple to use. We've had the biggest machinist in the shops, about 6'4", 6'5", probably 285, 300 pounds, strong dude. We put a broadhead in a vise after tightening this thing down with the arrow sticking out, and ask him, pull it off. See if you can pull this off. Couldn't budge it. You'll break the arrow before you pull the system out. So then we decided to do destructive testing on these inserts and shoot them through plywood, hundreds and hundreds of shots, see if it would loosen up or anything like that and pull out. Nope. So it really works well. So we're going to be, we debuted those at the ATA show. We've since refined them a little bit. And, so we're going to be showing an even better models when we start selling them. But we've already got from pro shops that are aware that we're going to save them a ton of hours and headaches gluing stuff in. They don't have to do that anymore. They just put it in a second, lock it down. It's there, done. So we'll speed up their arrow production by, I'd say, minimum 30 to 40%. I mean, it's fast.
Yeah, I saw somebody record a video of you guys demonstrating that at ATA, or was it just in the factory, but on YouTube, and I thought that was a fantastic system to develop. Or was it on your Instagram feed? One of the two. But I think I
sent you that. Yeah, I think I sent you that on a cell phone to show you. But
I know you sent me some of the ballistic testing, which was pretty impressive. Like that was really solid development right there.
Yeah, that was the bomber I was shooting that day, and the bomber
Yes.
it showed how tough that is too. I mean,
Oh,
same
man.
broadhead went all the way through. It's still sharp, ready to go, no damage.
Yeah,
And,
when I watched that bomber slide through the ballistic shells, like that is so impressive. It's like it didn't
yeah.
stop unless there was something till it hit the board in front of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Or the flat
yeah.
change, one of the two.
We've had a lot of independent testing done by engineering firms, and they've all concluded. Well, hold on just a minute. Oh boy, we got a new puppy, and he just had the remote to the TV. He's fixing to chomp on. So, Cindy, can you please get the dog? So, yeah, he's just a puppy. He's a mini Australian Shepherd, and he's going to be a good dog. But right now, he's in his terrible teens, puppy stage wise, and he's just funny as heck.
So I take it you're able to get him out and running, because I know those Australians need room to stretch their legs to burn off the energy, because they're such.
Not yet, because of my health. We've been kind of having some battles recently, so we're just focused on the business and in my health. So see what he had, honey. Yeah, he's a heck of a puppy. But as far as the inserts, I actually do have some here.
Oh, great.
We're making them in the stock aluminum sizes for everything, for all those different diameters I mentioned. So depending on the diameter, like the 300 diameter for the crossbow bolt, for example, it's a 2-piece system, and in aluminum to replace the stock aluminum inserts that you got to glue in. This is 20 grains, right? I don't know if you can see that. It's 20 grains.
I can see it. I can see it made up.
Yep. We're also, so it'll be like the 204 diameter is 10 grains, right? The aluminum version is 10 grains. The 230 and the 246 are 15 grains. And,
all right.
But we're also making them in brass in 100 grain, and we're going to give a 200 grain option. And so this one here is a 230 diameter brass, and this one is 200 grains. So we have a 25 grain marks on there. You can actually just snap it off. You don't need a saw. You snap it off, 25 grains. Snap off another 25 grain. Dial in your spine, your flex for a trad shooter the way you want it, or just leave the whole thing in there. Most people are just leaving it all in there.
Okay.
So, and because we have a mechanical insert system, you got to go through, you got to spine tune your arrow, right? This allows you to actually spine tune your arrow a little bit easier because you're mechanically entrapped. So you can loosen it up, twist it just that little bit, tighten it back down, until you dial your arrow in exactly the way you want it. So we have these in 100 grain and 200 grain brass. We have them in 100 grain and 200 grain stainless steel on all these different sizes. So we have quite the options for everybody to choose from in whatever material they prefer, steel, brass, or aluminum. The aluminum, obviously, we're only doing the lightweight in aluminum, right? If we're going to add weight, we just change the metal to brass or steel.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just like brass myself, so I pretty much use brass. I'm Navy, right? I'm used to polishing brass.
My uncle could say the same thing when he was in the Navy. He was in the Navy during the Vietnam War, and I'd sat down with a guy that up in Outagamie here last year, and oddly enough, they're both stationed in Anchorage, Alaska at the same time. The only difference was that he was in communications. My uncle was in the fire department up there in Anchorage, so they never crossed paths. But my uncle's never been one for alcoholic beverages, so that's what they would have made outside of duty. Besides that, so it was just kind of funny because I'm sitting here asking my uncle questions like, "Do you remember this gentleman's first last name?" And it was uncanny if they were. It just been really, even more unique if they actually would have met and be able to reconnect them after 40 some years. It's kind of fun where, I was in Afghanistan for a year, and
you're out in the middle of nowhere, you bump into somebody. Yeah, I was in Afghanistan too, you know, and then, well, where were you at? I was on Fasab. And they're like, no way, I was too. And when were you there? You know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And same sort of a deal where you were both there, but they were coming through and then left, right? Where I was there permanent. And so it's that kind of stuff. And it's kind of cool. The world is a lot smaller than people realize.
That it really is. I have friends of mine that are in the military, and it's like it's fun and unique when they catch up. Like at the Toma Sparta shoot here last year, there was a guy that came down to meet up with his friends that were stationed together. One of my friends moved back to our hometown in Iowa, and the other one moved back to his hometown up in northern Wisconsin. It was just kind of a nice common meeting ground for both of them to hang out and have a conversation.
Oh yeah, the military is a brotherhood that'll never die. It's a bond for life. You know.
Oh, that is so true.
Yeah. So that's a bunch of fun stuff that we debuted this year, and already people are, you know, getting these in their hands and they're starting to have some fun with them. I got all kinds of, mostly right now it's pigs and exotics here in Texas, right? Or we just had a gentleman, he's boots on the ground in Africa right now, and he's a week or two away from reaching his place where he hunts, and he's going to be there for about 8 months, and every day he's killing animals with VIP broadheads. So they're putting them through the paces. I mean, we've already had that done, but not 8 months in a row every day, right? We've had a few safaris, and we've had PHs test us, and you know, killed a bunch of animals, but nothing like the sheer number of animals that this guy's going to kill. So I'm kind of excited to see the forensics on that, and we know the forensics, but more importantly, the consistency of all the different sized animals that they have over there. What are the lethality results, right? I mean, for every animal hit, what was the detailed results, right? And of course, he's going to do necropsy, so we'll get the forensics. He'll relay all that to me. My puppies come back. Hey, you little devil dog.
Ranger. It's just unique. I heard you earlier say his name is Ranger, correct?
Yeah, his name is Ranger. Yeah, because he's gonna range all over the place. I don't know. It's just, you know, it was a name that my wife and daughter chose, so that's fine. So he's gonna be a real good dog. Yeah, we lost my other dog probably 3 years ago. Broke my heart. And he was a full-size Aussie and smartest dog we've ever had. And when this one came available, we didn't intend to get a dog. It's just that the people that bought it, they ended up getting COVID really bad, and they couldn't take the dog. And the breeder went to high school with my daughter. Okay. And they knew that our dog passed away, and you hear my cats getting in on the action. See that?
Oh, that's fun. That's the best part about it being at home. You never know what kind of animals going to show their face.
Yeah, this is my dog's Smokey around here. Right here. This is Smokey right here. He's our like Angora kitty. And, so anyway, you know, my wife felt it was time. Let's get another dog. So we got him. He's only going to be like 18 inches tall. So he's a mini. Which is a lot nicer. So that's a little more easier for us to handle. And he's just laying down here now, staying out of trouble. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, we'll get him outside and get him, but I mean, we've only had him 5 weeks now, maybe 6 weeks. So we're just still getting used to it all. And he's a good dog.
That is exciting. It's fun to have a young pup in the house, just because you have that opportunity to like reinvigorate your life, because it's like you're excited to see him and he's excited to see you, and other parts,
quit
like
polishing that. Quit polishing that up. All it means is, wow, you don't get a lot of sleep, just like having a newborn baby. You know?
Yeah, that's why. Like my dog, she's Angel. She's 13, so it's like I'm dreading the day. So it's like she's been in my life for the last decade, and so I didn't get her right off the get go, but she's been a real loyal dog, and she's traveled all around with me to up and down the Midwest, from Illinois to Iowa. She's just been my go-to, but she gets so jealous. it's when I have my daughter with me, she'll give me these death stares. It's like, how dare you not give me any attention? It's just funny how she gets so jealous with me, but it's like, it's just terms of endearment.
Yep. This one is kind of, he's still split 50-50 between Cindy or I about attention, but he's starting to gravitate more towards me, I think. So we'll see. He's gonna be a good addition to the family, that's for sure. So.
Oh yes. I'm sure your grandson just loves him.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yep. He loves to see him. My daughter will FaceTime pretty much every day, and he wants to see Ranger. He wants to see the puppy. So yeah, he's a good dog. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to send you I apologize in advance. I didn't, as busy as we've been, and as you know, I went through some recent health issues that I just didn't get that box sent out to you full of this new toys. We'll get that done. And when you get them in hand, then you'll be able to go, okay, I see. Because I mean, it's like funny at the ATA show, people would see how it worked and they'd look at me like, man, what are you, a wizard? You know, to figure this out. I mean, it is pretty cool how it works.
It is. It's very proprietary. No, you can't really duplicate it. I mean, if you do, everybody knows you're blatantly stealing, you know? And I was talking to my buddy Brady because, well, you and I were talking right around lunchtime there. It's like, you gave me some food for thought. And it's like, well, let me talk to my buddy here. It's like, cause like this boom arm and stuff like that. Like we have a second project that we started on Fridays, stuff like that. And we've ramped up our platform. Essentially, it's called After Dark Podcast, and we actually do live stream. We have high-end cameras, HD, the 4K, the whole works. So like we dropped a few grand in this, and it's like I was pitching him some ideas, like what would make sense with your broadheads and stuff. I'm like, well, do I want to do it tonight, or do I want to get the broadheads in hand and then shoot them, then have a conversation? But it's like, you know, I like this format better because I have my landlord has a couple hundred yards of field open. So it's like, it'd be fun just to go out to his pasture and just lob some arrows at different targets and such. And and we both thought like that would be a really fun thing because I took him to his first expo this weekend there in Wisconsin at the Dells at the open season. And he absolutely had a blast just following me around and helped me set up with doing podcasts and stuff, like working with Travis Bigger. I ran into Brian Sparks, a common friend of ours and such. And he gave me some of his Mock's Great Magic. So boy, this stuff is just, it's so potent, but the way he layers his chemistry in the blend, it's like and then after listening to Travis Bigger and talking about his interaction with the product, like he was telling me about a story about 4 years ago. There's these two big monsters, 190 class bucks a piece. And he went out, touched up a mock scrape with his magic here, and they were getting blown up by their cameras with their fight going on, their videos and their pictures. And one of them lost its eye, and it got later on. The first or opening day gun season, this young lad, I think it was like 10 or 12, Travis was just saying, and he managed to punch his tag. And it's like, do you know how cool that'd be for a 12-year, like a young guy, get this massive buck and just kind of just hook him for life.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's fun. I remember my daughter, the first deer she shot, you know, here she is 30 years old. She'll turn 30 here pretty quick next month. And she is still ate up with bow hunting, and she is good. She has killed some big turkeys, some big pigs, and some giant whitetails. And she got to where on that low fence ranch, that 3,000 acre place. Yeah, we had trail cameras up everywhere, and so we kind of had an idea but it was low fence, so you just never knew what you were going to see. And we're in South Texas in the Golden Triangle, big buck territory, and man, we saw some whoppers. And every year, probably the last 5 or 6 years that we were on the place, she matured enough in her bow hunting where she just didn't feel the need to just fill every tag, right? She was like, Dad, that buck on that camera, I'm going to claim that one. I want to hunt that buck. Okay. And she started doing that every year, and she would tag that buck every year. So she got to where she's really a good bow hunter, makes Dad proud, better than if I shot them deer myself. And she's killed some whoppers. So yeah, it's pretty fun to see the next generation get after it. Now that I have a grandson, can't wait. He's already gonna sling arrows. So
it'd be just like his mom getting after it.
Oh yeah. Yep. So that'd be fun.
So, like when I was talking to Brian yesterday, because we are not no, it's not on Saturday. How did you and Brian cross paths? Because it's like you seem like you guys have known each other for a long time. The way he made it seem.
Yeah, we've known each other a long time, quite a few years. It actually got to the point where, because of the growth of VIP Archery now, and I get requests for me to manufacture and sell things. And I had an opportunity. I was solicited by some folks that were covering a large swath of territory, and they needed a synthetic scent.
Okay.
You can't do natural, right? You had to be synthetic, and to satisfy the law. And so that's how Brian and I came to be. I was aware of who Brian was through somebody else. So I called Brian up, and he actually developed some scents for VIP. We field test, and we still have some to field test, but then I hate to say it again, but my health, I've been through a bunch of surgeries and chemo every 3 months, and it's been a battle. It was just too much on my plate, especially in view of my core focus is broadheads.
Correct.
And I was working on all these simultaneously. And then we have a ranch in East Texas now that we do all of our lethality study broadhead testing on. And I just couldn't get there. It's only a 5-hour drive. I just physically can't get there. So I just had to pump the brakes. That's what you have to do when you get older and things start breaking down on you. You got to pump the brakes and choose your battles. So I love Brian, love his products. I just couldn't do it anymore. And so we passed on the opportunity to have a VIP line of sense. But Brian's the man. He's the man.
He is.
His craft. He makes an amazing product. And, not saying I won't ever do it with him, but just right now it's not good timing,
Yeah, which makes perfect sense. I get it. Yeah, we sat down, like I had him on my podcast last spring, and man, it's like he is so intelligent. It's like I just sit there and I'll just ask questions and just let him talk, because it's like he will break down the scientific purposes, the whole lock and key mechanism, the way he rolls that out, just like absolutely makes sense. And when I invited him for dinner with Brady, because it's like I wanted Brady to get more of an understanding of the outdoor world and such. And he came and joined us for dinner, and our 1 hour dinner turned into 2.5, 3 hours of conversating and such.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, Brian is just he's just a hoot. I love bragging about the guy because he's so funny and on top of it, he's so intelligent, because it's like he knows he can call bullshit and stuff like that. And the way he's able to disseminate information, it's just fantastic. Yeah,
that's kind of like me on the subject of broadheads. And you know me well enough. I'm a redneck, stubborn to go. I just call bullshit on stuff that's said and done. And not only can I call bullshit on it, like Brian with his chemistry, like me and the broadheads, we can back it up, right? We can back it up. What we say, we can back up. What other people say, all they are like parrots. They just repeat what others have said for years, or it's the new fad way to say something, or it's just kind of BS. I just don't subscribe to it. So we've killed too many thousands of animals. We've done the due diligence. We know the materials, we know the mechanics, we know the stresses and strains and aeronautics and the whole 9 yards. And pretty straightforward. I don't do any social media anymore. I just don't do it.
Yeah.
I just got tired of everybody being an expert when they're not, and all they want to do is argue and fight, and and if you don't agree with them, then they tear your company down, they tear your product line down. It's like, whatever. I just don't need that. We have a lot of happy customers across the globe. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I don't need to talk. I don't talk to people anymore, except folks like you occasionally. And I actually don't do this very often anymore either. So I'm just enjoying getting feedback from people that I'm not even soliciting, right?
Yeah.
When somebody calls you up and go, man, my son did this, or my daughter did that, or I did this with your broadhead, thank you. And so that's good enough for me. because those people are not on social media for the most part either, right? And so their voices are far more powerful than somebody on social media. So.
Yeah, that is so that is so true, especially when you're trying to be, when you're healing yourself, and like the negativity can really get to you. It's like, and you, like you said, that like having those kind words being said to you that way, it's the way to be. I even try to slow down, and I focus more on Instagram just because it's like, Facebook has definitely tried to, like, well, Meta should say, has definitely capped me off at, like, I'm still floating right around over 12,000, but should be far higher. But I get misinformation all the time from when I'm looking at my stats and my figures, my algorithms and such, and it can be quite the frustrating aspect. And at least with Instagram, I can focus my directive drive to where I want to talk to. And these last few months, like it has just definitely changed. I mean, starting July 4th of 2020, my whole entire life changed when I met Chris. Like, everything in his essence, his aura, has really kind of blossomed into this really nice growth for myself. But he's introduced me to so many amazing people, and God has been a guiding force. I just kind of follow the path and such, and I really enjoy it. I've been able to accomplish a lot more than I ever thought of, and now I'm just staying on it. I'm not letting up, because like I would have had, my guest last night got sick, so he canceled, but we rescheduled for tomorrow. But for the next 6 weeks, I'm doing 2 podcasts. So we're doing 2 podcasts for the Bucks of America podcast. Then I do another podcast called The After Dark, and that's where I can get into the spoiler alerts, where we bring in some of my close friends from Idna or Ryan and a few other guests that I've had on my podcast, where we know what's going on, but it's just fun to BS and stuff like that. And it gives me a chance for me and my buddy Brady to drink some good whiskey.
I'm Jake with HHA Sports, and today we're going to talk a little bit about our Dovetail Sights and how they're going to fit on the new Matthews V3X. So as you'll see, I have a Tetra Max Tournament Edition sight on this 33-inch V3X. All of our Dovetail sights, the Tetra and the Tetra Max, will fit on the V3X. Also, in the next couple of weeks, you'll see us come out with a shorter dovetail version. It'll just be our short bar version, which will also fit on the V3X on both the 29 and 33-inch model. One question that we've gotten pretty frequently lately is the windage adjustments on your Tetra and Tetra Max bow sights on the new Matthews bow. And this year we came out with the infinite adjust plate, which you'll see on the front end of your sight. So when you
just kind of have some good conversations, because last week we recorded for 3.5 hours after I got done being at the show for 6 hours.
Wow. Yeah, that's a busy schedule right there. So I'm about all I'll do is, I don't know what you knew this about me, but when you're trapped in a chair, recovering, healing, whatever I'm doing with this health issue is, my wife bought me a PS4 PlayStation.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy gaming, and normally I just play with random people on the internet, whatever the Warzone, type of single person shooter type thing. And I have nieces and nephews that play as well, but they're kind of busy in their lives too. So I just play randoms, whoever the computer puts me with, right? And over the years, I've met a few people, and we like playing together. And now I've got some Canadian friends. I've got folks on the East Coast. Pretty much every night now they text me, "Hey, are you getting?" In fact, right before the podcast started, they're texting me going, "Get on," right? So we'll fire up some Blackout or some Caldera, the new Warzone stuff. Or now they're into this Tiger Woods golf game, and it's fun. I'm 60 years old, but I'm whooping their butts.
That's awesome. I sold my PS3 here years ago, and I haven't looked back since. I've just been kind of followed my inspiration and kept on doing it. And then I listened to a podcast with Tim Ferriss, and he's one that wrote the 5-Hour Work Week and such, but he put together this 3-hour long podcast. And it's like, well, I've been doing it for a while, got over 100 episodes underneath my belt. I've done over 200 episodes between all of the work I've done. And I wanted to listen to his perspective to like why I've gotten to where I've been at. And it's like, it's fun listening to him, because all the stuff he's been talking about through the podcast it was the stuff that I've overcome, and like I'm able to regurgitate some of my advice to others. Like I was working with Jeremy Davidson from Kentucky Bourbon State Outdoors. They're out in Kentucky, and he introduced me to Pat Newcomb, which made the Newcomb blind. There, it's like it just folds down stuff. We did record a podcast with him on Saturday, and that was fun. And it's like, but he asked me to reach out. He reached out to me, asking like, "Hey, I want some advice in setting up a podcast." So I showed him my equipment and like what you can do with everything, and because he wants to develop, he's got this beautiful 5-year plan to get it where he wants to be, and it was just rewarding that like I was able to provide him some advice to keep his budgets realistic. And we're like, this mic is $300, this boom is $50, this whole that. But I gave him what I used, and they produce the same amount of sound, same good quality. But it's like you'll be able to get yourself off the ground and grow within their first year.
Yeah, it's like, so I do the same thing. I mean, in fact, I just sent an NDA to somebody that reached out to me from Wyoming, a younger gentleman that started out just like I did 25 years ago. I thought, man, I got to figure out how to make a better broadhead. He's doing the same thing. And so he reached out to me, and I've done this numerous times, but this is just the most recent one. And I'm going to give him some guidance, right? I'm going to try to help him achieve I'm going to get him to the point where he can make a decision whether to continue to pursue it because it's a viable product, worth the money, blah, 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 to put into it. It's a lot of commitment financially to do what we do, and just see how far he wants to take it. But I'm going to give him the wisdom of all the pitfalls that we've been through and overcome, as well as I'll open up all my avenues of ability to get him a finished product in his hand. And I don't expect anything out of it. I don't want anything out of it. I just want to see him make his own wise decisions, and they'll be a lot wiser because I've already walked that 30 miles that he's just beginning, right? And I can guide him right down a path that gets him to a point where he can make the decision to commit and keep moving forward wherever that point is on that 30-mile line. Whether he just wants to make some broadheads for his own personal use, great. If he wants to make some broadheads with intent to maybe go to a show or two and see how they do, great. If he wants to just kind of jump in whole hog, if you don't have a deep bank.
That's so true.
And you better be committed to it, because it is not easy. It's a sacrifice, that's for sure. So anyway, I seeing it's no different than the feeling that you get when you take a youngster out and they shoot their first deer. That's the same sort of feeling I get when I have opportunity to help the next generation of entrepreneurs or innovators, those critical thinkers that are not just sitting there every day playing a video game and not doing anything with their life after they get done with their normal job working for somebody else, right? This guy's got some get up and go to him, and I really support that, because it is that individual and self-discipline and self-motivation. Those are the businessmen of the future that keep our country strong, right? They're producers. They're not just consumers. They're a producer. We have far, far too few producers in our nation. It's all about the middle money, right? Meaning, okay, Matt makes and sells broadheads. There's a bunch of middle people that want to retail them, make money. And all they do is order it, put it on the shelf, make money. And, or put it on the internet and make money, right? Even worse, because they don't have brick and mortar place. They're just on the internet, make money. And they're not producing anything. They're just a different avenue for somebody to achieve their what they want to buy. So that's with any kind of a food or any kind of a product, right? Not just broadheads. But I feel pretty proud that we actually produce something of value and people really appreciate it. And we sell them globally. So it's not just like I'm selling them in Texas, right? So we sell them globally. We reach the world with our little broadhead widgets. It's a pretty cool feeling.
Oh, 100%. I know what you mean, because it's like I was looking at my recent analytics and stuff like that. I saw a couple new countries pop up. A couple from where was it? Holland. I got a couple of new people from Holland started listening to my podcast. It was like that was pretty cool, because like I've had someone like I've been I've had my podcast played in like 130 some different countries around the world. Yeah.
Nice.
Oddly enough, Ireland's a big consumer of my content.
I know I know there's people shooting our VIP Archery broadheads in like 32 European nations.
Oh,
I mean,
wonderful.
all over Europe, they're shooting us and having tremendous success from them. You know, little tiny, what do you call chamois, and what is those little tiny deer with a little, I forget the name.
Oh, Sitka bucks?
No, those are bigger. Those are the bigger ones.
Oh,
Roe
okay.
deer,
Roe
deer. Little tiny things. I mean, they're tiny.
I've
And
seen
they've
them.
just been
Yeah.
putting the veterans and the combat veterans through them like hot knife through butter, and they just don't go anywhere. And then they're shooting the heck out of them monster boar over there. You know, the big pigs. And,
Oh, yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, they're kill some whoppers over there with them. So we're having really good success. Everything needs their touching over there. So it's getting fun. Let's put it that way. It's getting fun.
That is exciting to know that your legacy is going to last several generations down the road for the quality that you put through, and then the Rolodex of how many beautiful animals that have been taken to feed people's families and such. Just that success and that efficacy that we've been talking about. And I think we've come to a great head, man. Matt, it's like it's always a pleasure talking to you. I always learn something new from you, and I don't have to give anybody an introduction to where to find your products. So because I always advertise, I always have my stuff going on there. So I'm good on that, sir. But any final thoughts you want to let out before we hit the?
No, just thank you for having us on again. We really appreciate all the work you do, and we enjoy your podcast as well as just regular listeners, right? We're just outdoor enthusiasts, and we listen to a few different podcasts, and it's fun. And it's a pleasure to participate on yours in particular. We've been doing this with you guys a long time, and it's fun to see you grow and evolve. And just like you see, we're growing, we're evolving, and we're gonna enjoy this for the next few years. All these different designs, because I don't know where to go after this. Although I will let you know. I'm working on another one.
Oh, your brain's always going. It's like talking with Brian. It's like his mind's always tinkering.
Yeah, I get people, you know, because broadheads are a personal choice, right? They have personal preferences for how a broadhead works in their mind. They feel that's what they need to have, and they don't care about all these other widget things. And so this is just me filling in the portfolio gap, basically, to satisfy a pretty good demand for this style of broadhead. And it's been rolling around in my brain for about 3 or 4 years. It's just I finally got pushed hard enough to just get it done. So actually, I was with my engineer today working on it. We're real close to getting it done, where I'm going to start cutting some metal and having some blades wire EDM'd and get some prototypes together and we'll go. I'll probably go. We'll go kill a bunch of pigs. If not, if I can't go, then I'll have some folks I trust kill a bunch of pigs and put it through its paces, and then we'll refine it. It's always a refinement process, tweak it in and get it right. But it'll be one of those you remember this night and go, yeah, he said he's going to make another one, and this is another good one. So yeah, it's going to be fun to get that. To me, it will be my last broadhead I ever do. Really, I think it'll be my last one, and then I'm done. And so you're right. I am going to leave I think it'll be a good legacy of quite a variety of design options for people to choose from, and they're going to enjoy these for generations to come. So it'd be good.
Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you, the masterpiece, the maestro, Matt Futtere. Thank you, sir, for coming on the podcast. It's always a pleasure. So I'll let you go for the rest of the evening, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, brother.
You're very welcome.